Hey guys, wedding planning. That's what we're talking about today. Wedding planning causes stress. It's often expensive and can sometimes feel like a never ending whirlwind of decision making. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to talk with Michelle McGregor, the DIY wedding guru, who's here to guide us through the chaos with her incredible expertise, flair, and sense of humor. Michelle is a multi talented actress, singer, and comedian who has mastered the art of planning magical weddings without the stress of the or the astronomical cost. With an MFA in acting from the Yale School of Drama and her rocking performance as the front woman of the indie rock band Solitary Friends, Michelle is the perfect combination of talent, creativity, and resourcefulness. So sit back, relax, and let's plan a wedding with Michelle. Here we go. Michelle, I am thrilled you are here.
I am more thrilled that I'm here.
Can I? I was doing your intro. I'm going like, we should have you sing a song, but we'll hold off on that. Let's get into the wedding planning.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. So, someone's going to plan a wedding. What's the first step that couples need to take, or that they should understand if they're going to actually do a DIY wedding?
Yeah. I mean, the first step to me is like, what's your dream, right? Like, before you start saying you can't afford something or what it should be or what you think is realistic, I think the first step is like, what do you want? Like, what would the dream be, right? That's the first step, I think. And then you can start getting realistic after that, figure
Okay.
out what the dream costs before you decide you can't afford it.
So, do they have to like prioritize the budget first, or get the dream and then the budget? Is that how it works?
I personally think you should get the dream and then the budget.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that in your dream could be modified to fit the budget. But if you never have it written down in the first place or you never say it out loud, then it's just already off the table. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep. So, like, there's resources, and both of us have done weddings. I've done
Hmm.
photography. You've planned, and then you also have you've done your own wedding. So,
Hmm.
like, what are some of the resources that you go out there and find for inspiration?
Well, everybody's different and
Mhm.
everybody's got their different uh desires and what they like to do. Personally, I love to host. And I think that's a huge asset if you're somebody who wants to plan kind of a big wedding, which I did. I would consider the wedding, um, my wedding, a big wedding. But I love hosting.
What
So,
is a big wedding to you? Like, is it like 10,000 people,
oh no, to me
10,000?
a big wedding is anything over 50 people,
Okay.
honestly. Yeah, to
Okay.
me. Um, and one where you're providing like significant amount of food and beverages and entertainment. So it's sort of
Okay.
like an event, quite the event. And then ours was also a destination wedding. So, keep adding on the layers. And I'd say we had a big wedding.
Yes, you
Plus,
did.
we had COVID at our wedding. So, really big wedding. So, um,
Um,
yeah, but I love to like when I was getting married last year, I allowed myself to, pick out wedding magazines when I was checking out from the grocery store as long as it was under $10 or,
uh-huh.
all that kind of stuff. I allowed myself to make a Pinterest board and, put all that stuff because it was fun to me. None of
Okay.
it's necessary. I mean, honestly, like you have that Pinterest board, you could have those wedding magazines and like that's just because it's fun and goofy and cheesy and I like it,
So
but it's not necessary.
we've got like I made a list because I was thinking like, okay, here's we're gonna do a wedding, right? And what are the things like here's the things I was looking at that have to go into, or a lot of people say go into weddings. You got photography, food, music, wedding dresses, bridesmaids dresses. We've got invitations, flowers, transportation, favors, the actual person who's performing the wedding, honeymoon, rehearsal dinners, timelines that you got to do. Where are some of the resources? Like,
Yeah.
how do you, let's say we're going to do photography. Everybody at their wedding wants
Yeah.
photography. What's a DIY hack for photography if you really
Sure.
want to do that?
Well, I'll start off by saying you're absolutely right. All of those things, that's a great list of things that typically are in a wedding, right?
Okay.
I also want to say that, you know, you get to decide completely what's in your wedding or not. And that's, I think, a mistake a lot of people make, is that they think they have to have XYZ. I think you and I personally, I know we both feel pretty strongly about photography. Like,
Hmm.
you want good photography at your wedding, typically. Everybody's different again. And I will give a DIY hack for that in just a second. But I will also say, the kind of list of what you need, or the list of what you might want, or is typically in a wedding, they are all over the internet. They are everywhere on the internet. They are completely free. Or yes, pick up any wedding magazine at the grocery store for, $10, and they're gonna, almost every single one has the addition of your timeline and what you need, right?
Hmm.
And that's one of the reasons I feel pretty passionately about people saving money by not hiring a wedding planner unless they have nothing but money to throw at this thing. And I feel bad saying this because I'm sure there are a lot of lovely, lovely wedding planners out there, and I'm not trying to take away their livelihood,
Hmm.
but a wedding planner, a lot of what they used to do has now been replaced by the internet for
Is
free.
that kind of like travel agents? Like you don't necessarily need a travel agent for all that stuff anymore?
Yes.
Maybe same with wedding planners.
Yes, but the difference is, I think, that there there are probably more good travel agents out there than there are terrible ones, whereas unfortunately with wedding planners, and this is speaking from personal experience and a lot of asking a lot of brides,
Hmm.
let's admit mostly the brides are planning the wedding. There are seemingly way more terrible wedding planners out there than really good ones. And a travel agent cannot continue to make money if they're not good at their job. Wedding planners, however, they can, because
Mm,
they work with one client at a time, and you would think that they're, needing those referrals and everything, but there are lots of ways around that. But a
yeah.
travel agent cannot, because there might be a travel agent out there that can save you money, right?
Right.
Like, it's absolutely worth it if you are stressed about the idea of planning a vacation, or you feel personally really bad at that kind of thing, and you just want somebody who's really good at it, and they could also end up saving you money, or at the least not costing you more money, or
Okay.
whatever. Or maybe, yeah, maybe you're spending a tiny bit more, but it's worth it because you're just really bad at that kind of thing. That can be great. And if that was the case with wedding planners, I would absolutely encourage people to do that. But it's like time and time and time and time again, all I hear about and personally have experienced is that the wedding planners cause you more stress and cause you more money and don't give you the solutions you need. Because
I
the
I feel you, and I hear your, like, personal story coming through in your angst, I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So, okay, without, like, naming names, what are some of the things that you've had go wrong, and then you decided to do your own stuff, and what went right?
Well, so, and part of what, oh, and sorry, real quick before people are like, "Well, she never answered the question." DIY photography hack is go to the art schools. I mean, absolutely, go to the colleges, find some photography majors, and see if they want to get a little experience doing a wedding, because they probably don't have a lot of it. They're probably going to be good at it, and good enough at it, and save you a ton of money if a professional photographer, wedding photographer, is not in your budget, because those can be out of people's budget.
Absolutely.
So I mean, what wedding planners used to do a lot is connecting you with vendors. You don't know who can cater a wedding. Let's say, whether it's your hometown or you're going somewhere else, you need to find out who can cater, or what kind of venues are available, or what florists are available, and how much they cost, and where you can get a cake, and all of those things. A wedding planner used to be kind of necessary, because how are you going to find all that out? Like, I mean, you're going to go through the yellow pages in the book, or what? It's not something that you're used to asking for referrals for, right? It's not like,
Right.
oh, who's got a good plumber, or oh, what's a good dry cleaner? It's like, okay, who's got a good wedding cake maker, because it's a one time thing. So a wedding planner used to give you access to those people, and they would find out the pricing and come back to you and all that stuff. But now it's all on the internet. It's all there. And it's, oh, there's so many wedding websites like The Knot or, oh, what's the, I should have looked these up beforehand because I use The Knot, so I don't actually know the other ones
Yeah.
that well. But there's tons of wedding sites, and those vendors are on there, and they have reviews from actual people, who've
Okay.
used them, and they've got pictures, they've got their pricing. And here's the thing too. You might think, as I did, okay, even though it's all on the internet, wouldn't it be great to have that go-to person that's going to
Right.
do all the communicating with them?
Getting rid of the stress.
Yeah. But that wedding planner, okay, first of all, like I've said, most of the time they're not they're they're not as proactive as you are hoping that they will be.
Okay.
Ask any of your friends who've you've worked with wedding planners. I bet you 90% of them will say their wedding planner dropped the ball time and time and time again. So you've got this hope that somebody's going to call the cake places and get the pricing and get the pictures and all that stuff. But then what happens most of the time is you're sitting around going like, did they do that yet? Like when, shouldn't they have done that already? Like, okay, maybe I need to check in. And by the time it's like, it would cause you less stress to just do it yourself. And then the other thing too is your wedding planner can't answer the questions that need to be answered. So you are going to have to give that information anyways.
Like
If
what kind of questions? What kind of
like,
answers?
do you like buttercream? Do you like
Yes.
buttercream frosting or fondant or, whatever? Or, okay, what kind of style of cake do you want? Do you want a layered cake? What kind of flavors do you want? All of the things that a cake person would want to know,
Mhm.
your wedding planner is going to have to ask you, but now you're just getting a lost in translation thing happening. Like you're going to have to answer the question regardless, unless again, you're one of those people that has enough money that you just don't care and you just tell a wedding planner, like, just get the most popular, fabulous thing or whatever. I
Right.
don't care. Yeah. Or if you're someone who just so doesn't care that, yeah, you're just going to hire someone to make all the decisions for you and you're going to end up with whatever cake they want. Like,
So can I just tell you, I am like completely getting on board with this whole like do it yourself thing.
yeah,
And as somebody who doesn't plan stuff very well, that's why there are producers for shows like this. Um, the thing that I would say is keeping it organized. If you're somebody who's not organized,
yes.
isn't it going to be more stressful? Or how are you going to handle that?
Yeah. So, and this is another reason why I think you don't need a wedding planner. And I'm like, I just so hope there's not like amazing wedding planners out there who are watching this, like wanting to kill
I
me.
hope
Like,
that there are because now we can have a discussion. So yeah.
yeah, but yes, you do need to stay organized, right? And
Mhm.
here's the thing. All of those wedding websites have those on there for you. I mean, the Knot is great. It has a checklist of everything that you could possibly need, and you go down the list and decide if you're going to use that or not, right? So let's say
Okay.
maybe you're undecided about flowers. So for now, flowers stays there. It's just on the list, the checklist. And then the other great thing is there's two columns. One is how much it costs, and the other column is whether or not you've paid for it yet or not, right?
Okay.
And everything is in there. And then you get to make up your own as well. If you have other things, like you have some weird family tradition of you need 10,000 Sharpies at your wedding for some reason. So 10,000 Sharpies on the list. How much does that cost? Put that in, Yes, it's great to think that, oh, but if I hire a wedding planner, they're going to do all that. They're going to make that list and they're going to find out the prices.
Okay.
No, they're not.
So that's pre-wedding. I got that. I
Yeah.
totally on board with pre-wedding. Matter of fact, I'm pretty much on board with the whole thing.
Yeah.
But here's the day of, you've got like
Yes.
dress to do, you've got people
Yes.
coming in, you've got all this going on. Who takes care of that?
Yes. So that is an excellent point. And here is the answer. Before you decide to hire someone to do that, you have to know where you're doing it first, because most places, if you're having a quote unquote big wedding,
Mhm.
if like basically if you are using a location outside of your house or somebody else's house,
Mhm.
it is like almost guaranteed that there's somebody on location there that's their job already. So you're going to, so usually like the the vendor, the manager of
Right.
the location, right? So most of the time that person is already included in the price of the location that you're doing it at, and they're really really good at it, and they are invested in doing a good job because they are stuck at that location. Wedding planners are just one client at a time, doesn't matter how well they do, they get paid anyway and on to the next. People who manage locations are stuck there, and that's their job, and if they don't do it well, they're fired.
Okay.
So they're great.
I,
If they
I got
don't
this.
have that, if you don't have that on location, you don't have a manager there that's going to help, yes, you do want to consider hiring a day of coordinator.
Okay.
And that is not the same thing as a wedding planner, though a lot of wedding planners will offer that as a service. And it is a basically where you have a check-in with somebody once, you're like, this is what we're thinking of doing, and then like 2 weeks before the wedding, you kind of give them all the things, like here's all the here's all the balls, this is what you have to juggle the day of. And I mean, those people are invested, in doing a good job usually. And they're not just going to show up an hour before and be like, okay, let's wing this. Like, they're going to be prepared.
You
But
know, the thing that I see, because I'm on board with you again, I love this idea of doing it yourself. A wedding is a once in a life, well, maybe a once in a life thing, and everyone in our society is like, this has to be the best day of my life. I want it to be perfect.
Mhm.
I I want to hire somebody to turn this into the Princess Diana wedding of the century. Um, and there's a mindset that people have to get out of. And when you're talking to people and say, do it yourself, how do you get them and go like, you know what, you can do this, instead of them
Mhm.
saying, I want someone to do it for me.
Mhm.
What's the
Well,
conversation?
I mean, the conversation to me, it again comes down to your personality and what you're good at, what your strengths are and stuff. Because if you're terrible at planning things and you hate it and you're not organized, then yes, you probably do want to get some help. But that help is, I think what you need is to hire more of an assistant for just a little while to help you get organized versus a wedding planner. So, um, but the other conversation again is like the cost thing, right? Like if you want to have that Princess Diana wedding and you've got,
Princess Diana money?
yeah, exactly. Like I was trying to put a number on it, and I was like, let's be realistic. But that's if you have that kind of money and you have that vision, yes, you can totally hire a wedding planner that is, going to execute that vision. Just don't be fooled into thinking that you're not going to still be doing most of the work.
Okay.
Because there's things that like I think people think that when you hire a wedding planner, it means that you don't have to do any work, but that's impossible because your wedding planner, they don't know who your friends and family are. Do you
Yeah,
have a list of friends and family and all of their contact information that you can just give to your wedding planner to then what they're going to invite all your friends and family for you? No, like you have to that's the hardest part of planning a wedding. The hardest part, the most time consuming part is making the list of people you're going to invite and finding all of their contact information, even if you're just going to do it on email. Like you got a lot of contacts to figure out. Your
I
wedding
gotta ask
planner
you a
can't do
question
that.
about I gotta ask you a question about the guests,
Yeah.
because everything that I've ever seen in the wedding movies and hear about is who's Uncle Joe going to sit next to? Who's this person going to
Oh,
sit to?
right.
Is that
Well,
actually a hard thing to do?
I wouldn't know because I would never do that because that seems like the silliest thing to do. I mean, honestly, like assigned seating at weddings, like I don't know why anybody does that anymore. Nobody cares. You put what is it, tables out there? Tell people to sit where they want. Nobody's going to complain about that. Nobody.
Gotcha.
So I am, personally, yes, if that's important to you for some reason, then yeah, I mean, if you're a freak like me, you're going to find it kind of fun, right? Like, oh, we had a rehearsal dinner, meaning, it was just the night before the wedding. It was, my mom and sisters and their spouses and their children. And then, my husband's mom and his siblings and their spouses and their children,
Right.
which was think it was like 16 people maybe. And for that, I was like, I'm going to figure out where everybody's sitting, which I think I ended up just kind of be like, yeah, sit wherever you want. I think we put the kids separately. But yeah, there was a moment where I had my little diagram and I was like, I want so and so to meet so and so and so to meet so and so and da da da
Yep.
da. You know, I find that fun.
That's the TV show right there.
Right. Like I think that's fun for a second. But if you don't think that's fun, and it's not required, then just don't do it. And guess what? It's not required. I beg you to find me a wedding that isn't assigned seating where people are going, this isn't, they didn't tell me where to sit.
Good
How
point.
dare they? How dare they not make me sit next to somebody that
I
they
love
decided,
this.
like, you know what I mean? Like, no. But yeah.
Okay, here's the one thing, and I've talked to many people about this, and this has to do with the wedding, and it's the first thing that happens before you even get started. Usually, is you've got the ring that someone is going to buy, and
Mhm,
usually in a typical wedding, the groom buys it for the bride, right?
mhm.
And somehow the Bears has sucked everyone into
I
believing
know.
you need to spend 2.5 times your monthly
Yes.
salary,
It's so
monthly
true.
salary on a ring.
Yeah, that is not true.
Talk to me.
So look, again, always the conversations of money. If you're making lots and lots of money and you can do that and you want to do that, go for it. But if you are like a normal person, and you don't want to do that, go to auction sites. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think I showed this to you and I can show it to people. My wedding band, not my, so this is my engagement ring, a
Yes,
gorgeous black diamond on a rose gold band. My band though, I don't know if people can see that. Yeah,
I see
this
it.
one, it's I'm sorry, bad with camera. Okay, it's a rose gold band with like 5 little black diamonds on the thing. How much would that cost you at a store? Like
Lots,
a lot. I mean, a lot for me. I'm thinking like at least $1,000,
at
but
least.
I got it for $100 on an auction site. I
Awesome.
mean, it's amazing. And I would give my the one wedding planner that I worked with, even though it was a nightmare, I will give her credit. She was the one who recommended the site. So occasionally you'll get those tidbits, yes.
Okay.
Um, but that's a huge amount of money saved. And there are those alternatives, like, right, you can go to Tiffany's or wherever to get your brand new engagement ring or diamond ring, a wedding band for blah blah blah
Thousand.
$1,000,
Right.
or you can go on XYZ site and get it for cheaper. And there are many, many alternatives for that, including wedding dresses, which is also one of the biggest ripoffs in the industry.
I think dresses, cakes, and yeah, those are
Yeah.
right up there.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, the cakes. Exactly. I mean, yes. And I think people know this, but we'll say it, there are situations, and I think cakes are a huge example where because it's a wedding, they're going to charge you so much more.
I don't
And
understand how that got into the social mindset at all.
I know. And I told you this too, and I think there's room for conversation here where that, for example, I do think it's okay to charge a bride more money for her makeup than a bridesmaid, because that makeup artist should be spending more time with the bride. I mean,
Okay.
she's the center of all of the pictures. You're probably going to want to do a trial run. Like there are certain, okay, and you can't mess it up. Like
Right. You got
you
the one
cannot
time.
mess up the bride's makeup, right? And say you do a horrible job on the bridesmaid. Okay, wipe it all off, start over. Not a big deal. It is a big deal if it happens to the bride. You gotta do. But I think that's the mindset for things like the cake. It's like, well, it's so special. We have to make sure we're putting time and energy into it. And it's like, and yes, decorations for a wedding cake are typically a little more intricate than they are for like a birthday cake. Yes,
Yep.
it is harder to do a multi-layered thing with pretty flowers and all that stuff. So like
Well, then the question comes down to like, why do I need a multi-layered cake at a wedding as
exactly.
opposed to just like
Mhm.
German chocolate, which I would love.
Yes, no, totally. I mean, that's the thing. And here's like, because I don't know how long we have. I forget how long we're going to be talking for, but like, I just want people to know, like, it's like you can hire, y- like I've done consultations with people, and like I'm always happy to do that for pennies to the dollar compared to what a wedding planner will charge you. But also like your friends will do that too. Like,
Yes.
or, unless you don't have any friends, but if you don't have any friends, you probably shouldn't have a big wedding, because then who's going to come? Like, so like, it
That's
just, call up a friend and be like, okay, can you just help me? Like, I want to have a wedding cake, but they're too expensive. Like, can you help me? Like, yes, they will help you. I mean, what are all, you just have to think outside the box at all. Like honestly, you go to Whole Foods or any grocery store, you see those cakes in the display.
I
They're
do.
gorgeous, right?
Yep.
So get a couple of those. Like, if money is like a big issue and you don't need the big tiered
Well, I,
layered
I think the
thing.
question is like how much of this is actually going to be remembered and kept. In other words, the
Right,
cake goes in and you never see it again.
right,
Okay. The
right.
doilies, you put something on it,
Oh,
you throw it away immediately.
y-
Same with napkins and
yeah.
lots of stuff going into it.
Yes, yes.
So,
You got to know, like, what's your dream, and then also decide, is that really your dream?
right.
you know or are you stuck in this idea of what weddings are supposed to be and what you're supposed to do? Because the only if unless you've got a parent or somebody paying for the whole thing and they have ideas about what it's supposed to be, it doesn't have to be anything. If you do
I'm,
have somebody paying for the whole thing and they have ideas about what it's supposed to be, let them do it.
we're going to take a moment and we're going to play some this or that. I'm going to ask
Okay.
you some quick questions. I'm going to give you two choices. You get to choose one, the other. You cannot choose neither or both. But
Okay.
the outside of this or that, matter of fact, actually, this will be my first this or that. Expensive wedding or money for your first house?
Oh, it so depends on your
No,
personality.
no,
Okay,
no.
money for your first house. If yeah, money for your first house. If you
Okay.
can. If you can.
I personally would do that too, and you got to work that one out with your significant
We
other.
didn't
But
have it. There's no way. We did not have, that was not an option for us.
okay, let me see.
Yeah.
How about let's go beach wedding or forest wedding?
Oh, forest wedding. I mean, sorry, beach wedding, because I don't do bugs.
Right, unless you go to Florida, in which case there are lots of bugs on the beach. Been there, done that. Cupcakes or donuts for dessert?
Cupcakes, because I love frosting.
Yes. How about live band or DJ for entertainment?
Live band. But I
Really?
married a musician. That was not an option. Not to,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, I got you.
yeah.
Now here, this one is good for me. How about food truck or buffet for catering?
Buffet.
Eh, Really, I've
Yeah.
been to weddings with food trucks and I love
I'm
them.
sure they're great. No, I
They
mean,
are.
you're making me choose.
I am
I would
making you
do. I
choose.
think both. All of the every option you've given so far is a yes.
There we go.
I would do all of them, but I'm having to choose. I like buffet because it's all there and it's fast and easy and people can make their own portions and all that stuff. So, but
Yep. How about vintage theme or modern theme?
vintage.
Okay. DIY photo booth or cameras on people's tables?
I say photo booth. People, those are good
Mhm.
keepsakes or whatever, mementos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about formal black tie or casual dress?
formal black tie.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I say it because it's rare people get an occasion to do that.
That's very, very true. Um, let me see. First look photo or traditional aisle reveal?
Wait, what was it? What was the first one?
I was gonna say first look photos or traditional
Oh,
aisle reveals.
first look photos. First look photos all the way, all the way. And people, I don't even think know what that means, but we
Go ahead.
do we okay. So first look photos is where you and your future spouse have a private moment together with the photographer where
Hmm.
you see each other for the first time, instead of the reveal being as traditionally the bride walking down the aisle.
Yep.
I understand that moment that we all love to see where the groom sees the bride and she's so gorgeous and he starts to cry and awe, but that private moment of the two of you together, it means so much more, I think. And then I also am a strong believer in walking down that aisle together.
I
Like,
think they both would work, but yeah, I love that first look of the photos, especially being a photographer.
it's so
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, and
It's
not
a
only
lot of
that, it's one where you can do kind of a do-over as opposed to, like, down the aisle, you're screwed if you miss it.
Right. I
Yeah,
mean, and if you're somebody who if you're more introverted people, so many of these questions, it's like it depends on your personality. If you're an
yep,
introvert or extrovert, if you like to host, you hate to host, if you like being the center of attention, hate being the center of attention, all of that determines what kind of wedding you should have. But for a lot of people, they're not used to having all those eyeballs on them
yep.
for such a big thing. So to do it together and to have already gotten that moment out of like, oh my God, we're getting married, it's beautiful. I'm a big first look fan.
Last one. How about this is important, I think, for everybody, is handwritten vows or traditional vows?
Handwritten.
Handwritten all the
You
way.
can use but steal from those traditional vows, do not throw them away because some of them are perfect till death do us part, to have
Mhm.
and to hold, sickness and health. It doesn't get better than that.
Have you ever been to a wedding where the officiant will say, "Anyone who objects to this wedding, stand up or forever hold your peace," and somebody's like, "Dude, stop it now."
Right. No, I've never. No, I never have. That would
I've
be
been to
very
weddings where everyone's looking at each other and they're like, "Who's gonna stand up?"
no.
But,
Nobody should. And you know what? If you really have that strong of feeling about it, wait till afterwards because nothing's official till they turn in that marriage document. So
okay.
don't that's how I feel about engagements too. Somebody does a public proposal, you say yes. Tell them later if you don't want to.
So if you're on the Oprah show and they get down on one knee, you should just say yes there and not be that person that says,
Absolutely.
"No
Yes.
way."
Absolutely. Absolutely say yes and then break their heart later in
Okay,
private.
gotcha.
That's what
I
I think.
that's kinda cool.
Have some
I'm
class.
not the heartbreaker, I would say yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can yeah. It's the same thing at the wedding. If you really feel that strongly, you should have had that conversation beforehand that they shouldn't get married. And there's plenty of time afterwards because it's not
Yeah,
official till it gets in the mail.
I got you. I want people to stay in touch with you because you are awesome, and you can get you on your website at kmichellemcgregor.com,
Yeah.
and you've also got an awesome Instagram at k.michellemcgregor, and
Yes.
you've been, like, so fun. I just love doing this whole conversation
I
with
love
you.
it. I mean, I would talk to anybody about it. I love giving advice. You just reach out to me. Like I'm obviously very passionate about this topic, very passionate about saving people money because weddings are too expensive and they don't have to be.
They are. They
Yeah.
are. Thank you very much. Everybody
Thank you
watching, we'll see you in the
so much,
future.
Michael.
We out.